I'm going to show you how to use Google Docs to type your questions. And this video is more to teach you about the formatting, the tools that are up top here and how to use them so that you can type your answers to the questions you will have um, in a neat way. Okay, so you have to, you're going to read the directions, you're going to answer each of these questions, okay? So you're going to have to do some typing. Now, it's important that you do not erase anything that I've already written. It's important that you do not backspace anything I've already written. So I want to, kind of, like I said, explain some of the tools for you. So if I want to start answering this question, okay, and, oh, I just clicked. My cursor's way down here. I'm not going to start typing down here. Okay, I have all this white space. That doesn't look neat. So what you need to do is you need to bring this cursor to be right underneath the one or right underneath your line above. And you can start typing here. Okay. Now say I wanted to type something before this sentence. I went back, I reread it, and I said, oh, I actually want to put something before this sentence. You don't have to erase this whole thing. All you need to do is you need to take your cursor and you need to put it right before the letter of the previous sentence. And you want to make sure that you're using periods, and after a period, you need to have a space. Okay, so you don't want your letters to be jumbled like this. This is all about neatness and how to type properly. So if you have a period, you want to make sure you have a space right after the period before you start your new sentence. That's like typical typing, like rules. So you want to make sure you have a space. Let me show you something else you can do. So one, you want to make sure that you have capital letter to start each sentence, a period or punctuation to end each sentence. Say you decided you didn't like this whole sentence that you wrote. You didn't like it. You wanted to get rid of it. Okay? Or no, let's give you another situation. Say you highlight everything and you hit the delete button by accident. That question is gone now. And you're going to say, Miss Nori, I don't know what to do. My whole question is gone. Do not try to retype the question. What the first thing you should do is if you notice you make a mistake where you erase something, like a big something, or the first thing you should do is go to the top of this toolbar. Okay, you have two tools. One arrow is going backwards, one arrow is going forwards. You want to click the back arrow, and if you put your cursor over it, it tells you what it does. It says undo. You want to undo what you just did. So if I click this button, everything that I erased comes back. Okay, so this undo button can be really helpful, but you have to kind of recognize your mistake right away, because if you don't, it might not get all the way back to fixing the mistake that you made a while ago. So if you make a mistake and you notice it, you want to click the undo button. Okay, and say you said, no, actually I did want to do that. I did want to do that. You're going to click the other arrow, the redo button. That means it's going to do it again. So it took that question away again. But I don't want that, so I'm going to undo it because I want that question. Okay. Next thing you can notice. Let's look up here. Okay, this is a print button. You don't have to worry about that. We're not printing anything right now, but if you did want to print it, you would print this, you would push this button and it would come up a screen to help print it. Okay, this is a spelling and grammar check. This could be helpful for you if you are finishing up your work and you're double checking. Okay, so for example, let me if I click this spell check right now, it says spelling and grammar, it says document looks good. So I don't have any errors right now. But let me make some intentional errors just to show you what this spell check will do for you. Okay. Okay. So this spell check is kind of automatically on. It will underline things in red if it's spelled incorrectly, and it will underline things in blue if it's wrong grammar. So if like the verb doesn't match the number for nouns. So I spelled will incorrectly. And if I don't know how to spell will, all I need to do is I need to use 2 fingers. So I'm using 2 fingers on my mouse pad to click. If I do that, it comes up here. Did you mean will? Oh yes, I did mean that. Thank you. And I can click on that and it will change it for me. So let's look at this red one. This means a spelling error. So I'm going to put my cursor over it and I'm going to use 2 fingers to tap, and it's going to give me suggestions of the words that I was trying to spell. Did you mean intentional? Yes, I did. I will make intentional. And then this is supposed to say errors. Now sometimes it's not perfect, right? So the blue, after I fixed this error here for intentional, the blue for errors went away. So, but this is not spelled correctly. So this isn't perfect, but it's just something that you can use to help you to get a lot of your errors out. But so if I tried to like do the double tap on here, it doesn't give me the suggestions like it did for the other ones because it doesn't consider this wrong, even though it is wrong. So you really do have to go back and double check yourself. You cannot just rely on this spell check up here. It's very helpful to get you started, but you definitely should reread your work to make sure that you've done it correctly. Okay. All right. Next thing up here, paint. You don't need any of that. Zoom. So this is this can help you if you have a hard time seeing. So that makes it the opposite. That makes it smaller, very small, much larger if it's easier for you to see. That is unnecessary, 200%. It's usually kept at 100%. That's usually a good zoom to keep it on. I wouldn't go messing with this. I would keep it at 100%. That's pretty good. Normal text. You don't need to touch this. Please don't touch this, okay? The font, this is the type of writing that it looks like when you type it out. This, again, you don't need to touch. Font size. This will change how big or how small your typing is. So if I were to, right now it's at 12 as my font size. So this, what I've typed before, is what 12 looks like. If I change that to 48, oh, it didn't do it for me. Let's go back, change it to 48. This is what my font looks like now. And that's way too large. It doesn't make sense for them to have a small line and then a huge line. It doesn't look neat. It doesn't look proper, so I need to fix that. So one thing I can do is I could hit the undo button until all of that sentence goes away. But I want to show you another way. So I'm going to actually hit redo. The redo button is making it happen again. Okay. I'm going to show you another faster way to change this font. So what you need to do is you need to put your cursor, which means your mouse, at the end of the line or lines that you're focused on. So I'm focused on from the word this to the period after now. So I'm going to put my cursor right after that period. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push down, I'm going to click down, holding it down. My finger is held down, pushed down still. I didn't just click once and pick up my finger. I'm holding my finger down, and I'm going to drag my finger across, and I'm also going to drag my finger up, but not so far because I don't want this word errors. Okay, will it hurt it? Not right now, but you don't need it. So you can back up your cursor a little bit. I'm still holding down. I've been pushing down this whole time. I've just pushed and dragged. So that is highlighted now. Now that it's in blue, it's highlighted. That means that's the sentence I'm focusing on. My goal is to change this back to the normal font. So now that it's highlighted, whatever I do, it will do to this whole sentence. Okay, so it's pretty cool. I don't have to do it one sentence. I don't have to retype this sentence out in smaller font. I can just highlight it, and then I'm going to go up to the top where it's the font size, and right now it's blank. I'm going to click this little arrow, this down arrow here, and I'm going to change it back to 12 because that's what the rest of my document is. So I'm going to click 12, and look at that. It changes my whole sentence back to the correct font. So if you want to do something to a whole sentence, you just need to put your cursor at the point that you want. You need to push down and you need to drag your finger. So now I've highlighted this sentence. And if I wanted to bold this, if I want to bold this whole sentence, so this is another tool, bold. It makes words dark. So I've bolded for you the word, the title, garbage art, close reading questions. I've bolded the word directions because I want emphasis for you to pay attention. Evidence from the text, I bolded because I want you to really, I want that to sink in for you. So you bold things when it's like really important. For this activity, you don't need to be bolding anything, but just know that that's what this big B is for. So say I wanted to bold this sentence here. I've highlighted it, and I'm going to click the B, and it will bold the whole thing. Now look, this B is blue. This B is blue because this whole sentence is bold. Now, I decided, no, I don't want that. I can just go back now that it's, but I clicked out of it. If I want to change this back, I don't have to retype it. I need to re-highlight it so I include the whole sentence, and then I click the B again, and it takes away the bold. Okay? Now, let's finish up these tools quickly. This I here, slanted, is italics. That's if you want words to look slanted. Usually you don't use those unless it's for a title sometimes, or sometimes if it's like something that a character said. Sometimes people will use italics. So I'll click it and I'll show you what it looks like. This is what italics looks like. So notice the words are slightly slanted than my other previous, but I decide I don't want that to be italics anymore. So I'm going to take my cursor, push down, drag my finger, highlight the whole thing, go back and click the I, and it will undo the italics. Okay? Now this U here with an underline is for underlining. I've underlined garbage art close reading questions. So I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to undo mine. If I wanted to underline this sentence, I can take my cursor, push down, drag across, and click the U that's underlined, and now my whole sentence is underlined. Okay? So again, you don't really need to do that unless you are not for this activity, you don't need to, but this U means underline. The B is bold, means dark words. The I is italics, which means slanted, and the U is underline. And remember, if it's highlighted, that means the next thing you're going to type is underline. If I keep typing, it's going to be underlined. But if I don't want it to be underlined, I have to click it again so it's not blue. Now it is not underlined. See that? Now I do want to take this away because I don't need that. I could use the undo button. I'm going to highlight all the way to the part that I don't want, and then I can hit the backspace because it will include all of that sentence and erase it. Perfect. This is text color, meaning the word's color. You're going to use black for this whole thing. You don't need to change it, okay? This is for highlighting. This is like if I wanted to make something bold, or if I'm taking notes and I'm typing notes and I wanted things to be highlighted so that I'm like, oh, I want to remember this, I would click the highlight. But right now I don't want that, so I got to drag over here and I'm going to click highlight, and I want none. Okay, you don't have to worry about highlight right now. The rest of these tools you don't really need to worry about right now. Because I've already kind of said it for you, but I do want you to remember that if you want to make space, say you didn't like how this line, what happens when people throw away garbage instead of recycling it, is so close to this line. If you wanted a tiny bit of space, what you can do is you can put your cursor at the end of the punctuation. You can hit the return button or the enter button, and it will give you a line down. Now this actually because I've numbered things, it gives me automatically another one. I don't want that, so I'm just going to backspace. and now I have a space. Okay, so if you want to do that, you can do that. For the most part, you should leave everything as is.